Welcome to a celebration of Black Mer culture. I am so excited to introduce to you tonight's panelists, starting with Melanee. Born on July 30th, 1991 in Miami, Florida, Melanee was raised with the traditions of Virgin Islanders. Growing up Caribbean style with her two siblings, Melanee nurtured a love for nature, education, and dancing. After earning a bachelor's degree in business administration from Bethune-Cookman University, Melanee entered the early childhood world to explore her passions for educating youth. She worked teaching ages 1 through 6 until she moved her way up to a preschool director. In 2018, Melanee found a glitch in mermaiding, where a lot of merfolk of color were not being represented correctly or even at all. So Melanee created Afro Mermaid. Fast forward to today, Melanee is making it her personal mission to break stereotypes and strengthen the bond between all mermaids of color, size, gender, and ethnicity. When she's not keeping busy with Afro Mermaid, you can find Melanee spending time with family and friends, enjoying her favorite two things dancing and basking in the sun at the beach. Now, meet Merman Maui. Hailing from Los Angeles, California, Merman Maui performs with Dark Tide Productions out of LA, as well as the Court of Mermaids in and around Utah. A trained dancer and professional choreographer in musical theater, Maui brings those skills into his mermaid performing and also uses his platform to spread messages of joy, positivity, and awareness in many of the world's social situations. Also an ambassador for Finfolk Productions, Maui takes pride in being a voice for BIPOC in the industry and creating the representation he wishes there was more of. Mermaiding now for 3 years, Maui finds the most joy in spreading magic and reminding people that it's okay to be a little bit silly sometimes. Naja of the Majestic is known for being the first black person in the world to make a full silicone mermaid tail, travel and distribute them around the world. Majestic Entertainment now shoots photography and videography. Virginia Beach, Virginia, an area known for mermaids, is where Naja is from, now residing in Los Angeles. Mother Yemaya is her persona, with part of her signature look being the long seafoam dreads, representing connection and all knowing. At 33 years old, Naja was introduced to the mermaid world by Molly and Blix, and Naja has been now mermaiding for 7 years. In 2021, the Majestic team is filming Mermaid in the City, featuring Mermaid Crystal and Naja with so many special mer guests. Naja is looking forward to sharing her mermaid journey with you all. Sonsiris Efuntayo Tamayo is a spiritual wellness warrior. She slays dragons and stays hydrated. You know, a Dominicana from the Bronx. She has a graduate degrees in theology and spirituality. Sonsiris is proudly crowned priestess of Obatala. She is a gifted spiritual director and advisor as well as energy healer. She is a speaker, teacher, and writer. Sonsiris loves maduros, flowers, red lipstick, and a good twerk. The sea is filled with much beauty to behold, and Isura, the man of Mer, like all men and women of the sea, is a child of Yemaya. His name literally means jewel or treasure in Yoruba. Hence, he is the jewel of the sea. He is a regal noble and a scholar. Isura is the literal librarian and keeper of records for his people. Adventurous and inquisitive, he is on a never ending quest for knowledge. He yearns to understand the history of the world under the sea and the world above it. He travels the seas of knowledge, recording everything he sees and learns, and then shares it back to his people, hoping it will encourage their own investigations for understanding. Ultimately, Isura is treasured by those that love him and a friend to all. Follow him on his journey at man underscore of underscore mare, Mare, on Instagram. And I am your host for the evening, Mermaid Shay Monique. I am just so jazzed to share this evening and this space with all of these wonderful merfolk. I am the founder of the Society of Fat Mermaids. Please check them out. And I'll talk about myself on and off throughout the evening. Are you guys ready to get this party started? I am so excited to share this evening with you. Welcome to a Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. I am going to get our panelists on in 1 second. I am fumbling through technical stuff, but once we're all on, it'll be all good. Haha, here we all are. And let me add Miss Sonsiris and get everybody their audio. All right. Is the All right. Is the gang all here?
Yes.
We're here. Hey.
Welcome.
Come on, introduction.
Yes, that was so nice.
Gotta do my homework just a little bit. So obviously that was the bio you all sent me, but I still would like you to introduce yourselves, and maybe I would like your name, your pronouns, and whatever else you feel like just sharing to introduce yourself to get started, and we'll go clockwise. One of the things I like about this versus Zoom is like we all do have the same screen view. On Zoom, it'll be like what I'm looking at and what you're looking at is like two different things. All right, so we will start with Afro Mermaid.
Hi, guys. My name is Melanee. My pronoun is she, her. I don't even know where to start. I don't know what you guys want to know about me. I'm here. I'm an open book. I'm so excited to be here with all these beautiful people to talk about Black history, talk about where we all come from and why we're doing what we do. Yes, it's very important that we represent and, show that there are mermaids of color out there. We can do it too. We can make things happen too.
Okay. Welcome, welcome. Thank you, Maui.
Hey everyone, I am Merman Maui. I've been mermaiding now for about 3 years. It has been such an incredible journey, learning from and meeting so many amazing people in this industry and community. Um, I love what we do. I love what we inspire. I love what we create. And it's just a beautiful thing that we get to do with each other and celebrate something that we all enjoy doing. I am also a professional dancer. Dancing was my first passion. I've been dancing since as long as I can remember. And I bring those skills into my mermaiding as well, which helps a lot, especially with swimming and core work. But also, if anyone follows me on social media, you see a lot of dancing lately because why not? But that's pretty much it. I'm so happy to be here with all of these beautiful faces as well. Let's represent y'all.
Okay. Isura.
Hi, my name is Kevin Dozier, aka Isura, the Man of Mare. It's actually Latin, as well as Yoruba as well. My goal as a merman is basically just to learn as much as I can about what it is to be a mermaid. Take that and show the world that we can all do it together. You're not limited to your skin color, your hair color, or what have you, because our cultures just are so rich with so many different stories that we as a community or any community outside of the immediate melanin that is here in this discussion can tap into to assist with creating their persona altogether, basically. So that's
Awesome,
me.
awesome. Naja.
Hello, I am Naja. My name is Natasha, but I've gone by Naja since I've been in the film industry, which is about 12 years now, which is what Najestic actually specializes in is film and photography. I started my business with Najestic 7 years ago. And it was by meeting Blix and Mally. And I wasn't a swimmer. I'm actually from the water, which is crazy. I was raised on the water, literally. And
Mhm.
I was not a swimmer until 7 years ago, maybe even 6 years ago. And that's because everybody else was swimming in my tails and I wasn't. I felt like that was a little weird. So I decided I needed to learn. And from then on, it was just over. Um, I definitely am so happy to be on this panel to talk about everything that we are coming out with Mermaids in the City. And I'm excited to actually listen to, how do you say your name?
Yes, on series.
Some series? Yes,
Some
I'm
cities.
so anxious to talk to you. Oh, yes, tell us about you, please.
Okay,
Please go right ahead.
first, thank you for the segue. Just honored to be here. So thank you. I thank Yemaya for being here,
Mhm.
creating this opportunity. Um, I almost didn't make it tonight, so thank you for bearing with me. As you can see, I got this from IKEA that I had to put together and everything, just to put in the bedroom because I'm far away from the ocean where I'm used to being. I lived a long time in the Bay Area in California, and it's so easy to forget that people don't have access to the ocean as much.
Mm,
Um, but as far as myself, currently working social services, I have a history in studying theology and religion, and became a priestess and in the Afro-Cuban tradition of Lukumi, or sometimes misnomer, but people might know it as Santeria,
Mhm.
where I am a child of Obatala. The way it works in my tradition is we believe in balance, no matter your gender, nothing like that. If even if you are initiated into what might be called a female energy or a male energy, then you will get the opposite. So I'm initiated to a male road of Obatala, and so my balance is Yemaya as my mother.
Mhm.
Um, I did think she was gonna be my initiatory Orisha because I'm so close to her, and we'll talk more about that because we get what we need, not what we want.
exactly.
So
That's
Say it
Ashe.
again.
Come
yeah,
on.
so I'm
Come
happy to
on.
be here amongst all these merfolk. I'm gonna have to get me a tail, girl. Whoever makes them.
Yes.
You talking
Thank
to
you
her.
for having me as an honorary mermaid. Usually they would go to my Yemaya sisters, but they came to me, so I'm like, hey, I'm down.
Awesome, awesome. And I am Shay. I am the founder of Society of Fat Mermaids. I guess I kind of got the hashtag Merfolk for Black Lives movement energized this summer, and my pronouns are she, her, and I just really want to take the opportunity to celebrate us, and I do want to talk about history and whatnot, but everybody here on this panel is living history. Like, we are our Black history. I appreciate that that's also like a movement and an energy that's happening this year where it's like, you know what, like, history is happening every day, every minute, every second. And so I just really want to take the time to get to know all of these folks better. And I figured rather than like having a bunch of individual, like little Zoom coffee dates, we can just do this all together and we can share with the world and just really celebrate some Black merfolk. I really wanted Blix to be here and he had to work. And I want to acknowledge that up front because I'll forget, and you'll see me looking down and you see I've got my little pen. Somebody's going to say something and I'm going to think of something. I'm going to scribble a note to try to remember to ask the question later. So that's what I have going on. And that's what my, like, I'm not playing tic-tac-toe. I'm not passing love notes and booty catchers. I'm just like, ooh, remember to ask about this. Remember to talk about this. But definitely anybody out there in Facebook land, if you want, Blix, I know, posted a really awesome video that I haven't had a chance to watch yet, but just reviewing like so many different children's books about Black Merfolk. And I know he posted it to his
Yeah.
YouTube like this week. So you should all check that out. And that's something in particular I really wanted him to talk about if he were here, but he is not. So I'm shouting out that video. When I post this to YouTube, I can link to it. But if anybody gets the link out there in the chat, like maybe Grace, you're really good at stuff like that. And I see you're online. If you want to share that in the chat, that would be awesome. Let's see. Who am I going to hit my first question to? Actually, let's just keep going around in a circle. What does either mermaid or mermaids mean to you? And we'll start with Melanee.
What does
mermaids or mermaiding mean to you?
Mermaiding to me is all about connecting with the water and being able to share your love with water to others. I think it's so important. Like I tell a lot of people this when I do pop-ups and people that are like, "You're a mermaid." And I'm like, "Yeah, I am. You might be too, but you don't even know," you know? Because a lot of times people don't realize that they even have this love for the water because they're afraid of it or whatever's been holding them back from it. But a lot of times they don't realize that they're water lovers too. You know, we can all connect to the ocean and the water. We can connect to rainwater. If it starts raining and we're dancing outside in the rain, like there's so many different ways to connect with water. So for me, mermaiding is about connecting with your ancestors. It's about connecting with the water, and it's about connecting with the community around you.
Awesome. Maui?
You know, I can agree with that 100%. I mean, I've always had an affinity to water since I came out of the womb. And that's something that both me and my mother shared together, which was beautiful. Loving everything about the ocean and the sea and everything in between. And when I discovered the mermaid community, it was so fascinating that this was a possibility of something that existed that we could do. And I swam in a tail for the first time. And as a dancer, it's my biggest way to express myself and, you know, lose myself in my freedom of my body. But with mermaiding underwater, I had never felt so free before in my life. And it was life-changing because I was in the water and I was swimming. And I mean, I've been swimming forever, but like swimming in a tail and just gliding, that nothing can describe that feeling for the first time. So it really was something that I fell in love with, and to be able to continue to express myself. And then I just started sharing that joy that I found with that with everyone else. So it's just it's just now another part of me.
Awesome. Isura?
Ah, goodness. It's been a very emotional journey for me. That's why, like, even as I'm thinking about my answer, like, you know, I've been like dipping kind of sort of just to wipe my eyes. I mean, as a kid, I knew what I was meant to be. I knew that mermaiding, mermaid, what have you, was absolutely the life for me. You know, you can't play with dolls. You know, you can't wear dresses. You know, I grew up in a very, very strict household, and you know, but in the midst of that, my love for mermaiding and the sea never went away. And when I got my very first tail, it was a Mertailor tail back in 2012. And I swam in that tail for the first time. The feeling was almost surreal. And it changed me. And then later on, I met Naja, who actually was the one who exposed me to Yemaya. And even as, you know, we grew apart, I kept doing my own research. And as a result, I developed my own connection with her and an even deeper sense of purpose within that, which further validated what I always knew from day one, you know. So like it's even as we are having this discussion tonight, if I fumble at the mouth or, take a step away, just know that it's not because I can't speak, but just this topic as a whole, it's so fulfilling and so emotionally
Yes.
overwhelming at the same time that, it's wonderful, but it's hard too. So I'm just gonna stop there. Sorry, long-winded.
No, agreed. Agreed.
Absolutely. Your
Yeah.
passion is just like, I don't think you've ever like posted or messaged me about anything where like that like level of passion and emotionality like didn't show through. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And that's why you claim I'm always like pinging you about stuff. And it's like, no, 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 no,
Yeah,
no. Like,
yeah,
no, it's like this is you. Like, like
yeah,
you need
yeah.
to you need more platforms. So yeah.
Thank
Naja,
you.
what is mermaiding to you?
Mermaiding to me, I'd have to say freedom. It's definitely got a lot to do with my mental health, my
Hmm.
physical health, my spiritual health.
Come on, come on, come on, come on.
I've made so many new friends. I've met so many different kinds of people all over the world, and to share the experience is like everyone says, it's on another level. It's, how do you say,
No going back. It's
it
no
is
going
no
back.
going back. There is no going back. And I actually have lupus, and my lupus is systemic lupus, and it affects my bones. It also affects my organs, but it affects my bones every single day. And when I actually learned how to swim and I got into a tail, all that pain went right away. It just went away. And I don't know if it's a medical thing, maybe the pressure against my legs being together in the water is why
Mm.
it helps, or if it's a psychological thing. Maybe I'm in my element
Just gonna keep the
and
towel right here.
I just forget about everything else. But that is definitely what mermaiding is to me. It is everything. It's my freedom. It's my space.
Yeah,
That is so powerful
yeah.
and sincere. I know you don't mermaid in the verb sense, but I know that mermaids are significant to you. So
Sure. Yeah, so when I think about mermaids, I mean, obviously for me it brings up Yemaya from my tradition and how I know her, not from a more of a cultural space, but there's that, but also like from a ritual perspective. And like when I visit, I try to, ritually do things to um like show my appreciation to her. And I can still do that even when I'm not near the ocean. And but what one of the things that I don't know if you guys mer people have Octavia Butler. So she
Hmm.
has a book called a series called The Patternist, and in Wild Seed, um, she can shapeshift. And there
mhm.
was a period where she just became like a dolphin, for like I don't know decades, and that always stuck with me because I remember I went off Bay Area, so I think it was like Santa Cruz or somewhere around there, and we went whale watching and dolphin watching with my ex-husband, and it was a tiny little boat, and we were really far out, and the drop down to the ocean floor is extreme, and I stood at the front of this little boat, which I've never been out on that boat like that or that far. And I had to hold myself back from jumping in because the dolphins was there and the whales, and there was like an extreme, almost irrational feeling that I must jump into the water right now. But of course, I know that was not appropriate behavior. We're in like in a tourist little boat, whatever. whale watching. I don't just jump into the wells, right, with this little boat. So I held myself back, and it was so funny because as soon as I went into the cabin, I started to throw up, and I'm like, but I didn't throw up while I'm thrashing. So
Right.
when I talk about the ocean, like that's how strongly I identify as, even though I don't have the experience of mermaiding, like that's such strong affiliation that I have that I feel like I need to jump in. Um, or there's when I moved to New York City 18 months ago for various reasons, I'm no longer in the Bay Area, and there are times I cry. I would just cry, like I can't visit Yemaya right now, and I'm crying. I'm calling my friends. So I think we all have. For me, the mermaid is like I must be an approximation to the ocean because I feel like I'm drying out, like in the movies. All of that.
Yeah, yeah,
All those feelings are really real.
it is.
Um, and I'm sure we'll get to more conversation, but I feel like there's important lessons that the ocean has for us, and there's ways in which we can greet Yemaya, and I'll let you know also because we'll come back to it. In our tradition, the top is kind of Yemaya, but the bottom is Olokun.
Olokun.
Yep.
Come
So,
on.
and
Come on.
Know it.
Come on.
look
I
at
Come
y'all,
can.
on.
y'all already
Come on.
knowledgeable. Y'all don't
Come
need me.
on. Come on. We need you, baby.
I
We
need
need
you.
you.
They
We
got
need
it.
you, baby.
I need you.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I always say to
So,
people, talk to
Come
me like
on.
I'm 5, so I
yeah,
can really
yeah.
understand.
Yes.
At the bottom is there's a saying that goes, we don't know what's at the bottom of the ocean. So Olokun is androgynous and can be male, female, or like intersex, really. And how you experience that energy depends. Like I have Olokun, I have Yemaya in my house, like initiatory, not like I just have an altar, but initiated. But like how you understand the energy is for you. For me, my Olokun comes like this badass merman with the long dread, or
You know.
not. He's very masculine and very like
Yeah.
chocolate, and like he is the king of the sea. But for
Yeah.
some people, Olokun shows up maybe more androgynous or more female.
Right.
I don't know, but for me he comes that way, but I'm always clear that he can come anyway. He can come like she, like they, and so there's many energies within the ocean itself. Um, so yeah, all that to say, when I think about mermaids, this is all that's in my brain. A lot, a lot of stuff going on.
We love it.
Awesome. When we talked earlier, you shared with me a video, and I want to try to share it with everybody, and then I'd like you to talk about it. Is that okay? So, everybody bear with me because, I do better in the water than on the computer. So I think I've got it all ready to share. And then let me know if you can't hear it. I'm listening on an external speaker. So I'm like, if the sound doesn't play properly through the computer, I think I can just put my speaker to my mic. So I'm going to share this video, and then some serious, I'd love you to talk more about it.
Oh, yeah, sure. And this is a clip of a film documentary that was done by someone. You'll see more of it.
Awesome. So can you talk about that clip for us, Sincere?
Yes, because there's so much to talk about. So I wanted to kind of just give people like a little basic. Here, this is what we believe in: one God, many manifestation of God through the forces of nature, like things like the ocean, the rivers, the mountains, the forests, anything that's not so-called human made, man made, right? And but also the power of the water and the mother, to guide us. And in the tradition, the mother will be the great mother of all, which would be Yemaya. But she's so much more, because when the people were taken from various parts of the continent, some of the folks there, when they knew Yemaya, they knew her more as like, okay, she's a ruler of this river, like the water. But then what happened is, as they went into the ocean, some of them, I mean, obviously the coastal um, countries had known the ocean, but for those that didn't, when they encountered the ocean, they were like, "Wow, Yemaya went from being like here to like this great expansion," and so they believe her to have helped them live through the Middle Passage, which I don't even have the words, right? How can somebody live through that? And then for the people that were either thrown overboard, murdered, right? Or the ones who chose to go overboard because that's what they felt they needed to do, Olokun then becomes a guardian of the ancestors in that way. And so then Olokun, who we talk about, nobody knows what's on the bottom of the ocean. He, she, they, then becomes like this presence, like this intermediary between worlds. Okay. Um, and so we can call to Olokun, we can speak to that energy to help us. But the water is it's not just, it's a matter of survival, yes, but so it's much more than what we drink. It's also what cleanses us. I would say, Naja, probably that when you're the salt water has cleansed you for that time, and what probably has prolonged your life and your health in a certain way because of that, right? And so those experiences that we have that might seem a little bit off to people, it is that energy, because when we're in the ocean, we're in the energy of an Orisha.
Yeah.
Right? So like
Yeah.
we're in there with that energy. So that's number one. It can be something for merfolk to be very cautious of. You got to be cautious because the energy, I told you, I wanted to just dive in from this boat. Now I knew that I couldn't do that, but the pull to do that was so strong. So for instance, I'm a travel batala, right, officially with Yemaya's mother. There's no denying this because she brought me shame, right? But there are people who when we initiate, it is called the ocean becomes taboo. You know what that means? That they cannot go on the ocean. It becomes, you go at your own risk. Okay, it's taboo. You cannot go in the ocean. You can't swim in the ocean. You might not be able to go on a boat. Any of that. Why? Because whatever relationship they have with Yemaya Lokun, they can get lost, right? And so they have to be cautious to do that. I have one god sister. She can only go put her feet in. She can't go any further than that. And all you will see is pictures of her right by the water because she loves the water. It is there, but she can't go in. And I thought that I might have that taken away as well because of the experiences that I was having prior. And I think what helped me not have the ocean taken away is that I wasn't initiated into Yemaya. I was initiated as an Obatala child. I think if I was initiated as a Yemaya, it would just be too strong a pull. And that's why we get what we need and not what we want. Because I can identify with Yemaya all day. I can identify as being a mermaid all day. I could be in my blue and white all day. I have my anchor fabric. I got my anchor tattoo. I got my little anchor here. I got my anchor. I can identify with Yemaya all day, but all that water needs balance. And so Batala comes in with that mountain energy to ground me. So I guess in addition to you guys, ladies and mer people, like really loving Yemaya, really loving Olokun, I would say pay attention to not going out of balance either, right? Like, because it also, she, represents the emotional depths, the subconscious and all of our energy. And we gotta balance. We need her to cleanse, but then we need to put our feet on the ground. because unfortunately I'm not a dolphin. Unfortunately, I'm not a dolphin. I can't live out my Octavia Butler fantasy of being a wild sea shape-shifting creature, which I would totally love to do.
Awesome.
So that's it for now. But if you have a question from the clip, let me know.
Okay.
I hope that answers something.
That was
actually
awesome.
actually explains an experience I had at the beach once, and what you said just blew my mind. So yes, thank you.
Would you like to share that experience with us?
I actually went to a how do you say? Um, I went with the Obatala.
Oh, Obatala. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she took me to the ocean, and for some reason, I wanted to go in. Like I wanted to go in, but she was, she wanted to perform ceremony first. Like, don't go into the water. We're in ceremony. I wanted to go into the water. For me, I'm not sure what happened. For me, I was still speaking to her, but they literally said that I just kind of drifted off into the ocean, and somebody literally had to come get me because I didn't even realize I was walking into the ocean. So they wouldn't even let me be a part of the ceremony anymore because they were so afraid of that energy.
Correct. That's why I wasn't when I was giving you the caution. Is there no way to impede on anybody's liberation? None of that. Is because we need to respect the energy that
Right.
cleanses us, that heals us, that support us, and to know that we can be in such affinity that it could throw our own conscious and the Yemaya don't want that for you. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Yemaya doesn't want that for you.
Right.
But the energy could feel so strong that in that moment I just wanted to go overboard. Like we're talking about miles and miles offshore.
Right.
And I had to come back and tell my elders about this. I was like, I felt a little bit like I was going to, and then like a little bit insane. So and some people when they go to ocean, they can't turn their back.
Right.
They have to walk backwards until they're a safe distance because a wave can come. Let me tell you, if you ever in the ocean with me, I could be out here. The water's gonna come. It will be a wave that comes and will soak or whatever. Especially if I'm singing or providing offering, the water will come, and people could say, "Oh, well, if the waves do that." But
Mm.
there's a pattern,
You
you
know, yeah,
Right.
almost have it. And that's why some people, and in a lot of cases, depending where you are, depending on the water, you do want to move back a bit, or like walk backwards. But that's why I definitely believe in liberation and having your freedom of choice. But be cautious because if you do have that energy with Yemaya, you don't want to put yourself in a place where you're lost. And they were
Right.
correct to put you aside because they were protecting you. Yes, they were protecting you. So that was the appropriate
Definitely.
thing to do.
Definitely had to take a step back because that's what I felt like. I was very unbalanced. I was taking on a lot of Yemoja's energy and not thinking about grounding myself. And it's so funny that you said water will find you. Like, literally so much had started happening, and I was living in Atlanta, and we are nowhere near water, but somehow,
Nope. Nope.
y'all,
Nope.
water kept finding its way into my workshop where I used to make tails, and it kept destroying the tails every time. Every time I tried to make tails, water, it would flood. Coming from where? I don't know. I could not tell you. So it's the whole
Yeah, it's probably for the
not making
energy, and the energy was coming. Yeah, so you'll have to find ways to cultivate balancing and honing the energy by grounding, maybe by working with Obatala or a different type of racial energy. And I want to say before we move forward is um, this group was created, I'm assuming, because as a response to Disney, Ariel, and all of that. Not to say that it's a bad movie. You have all these white mermaid, white looking mermaids. The original mermaid black. I mean, ain't white, right? She black. So all that to
Well,
say, I don't need to.
that and that's a whole discussion. I mean, and then
Yes.
even the term mermaid and merman, I find myself veering away from it, which is why I call myself the man of mare. Because it's not an inherently or ethnic word per se. Like, okay, my main goal as a mer person, what have you, for the sake of just understanding, is I want to, obviously I don't have gills, I don't have scales, but my goal, even in developing my own connection with the sea, with Yemoja, is authenticity. That is my main goal above everything else. So my thing is, if this is what I want to be 24/7, this is how I want to live my life. This is what I want to identify as. Like, you give me an ID and it might say him or her or she or his, but mine says merman on it, or man of mare, or what have you. Essentially, that is what I want to get as close to as possible. And so when you go back to situations like the uproar that was caused due to Halle Bailey's casting as Ariel, the thing about it is, the uproar basically contradicted itself, because if we really want to get technical about it, if we really want to get technical about it and really upset people, the art of storytelling originated in one place. You understand what I'm saying? So the concept of a woman and a fish in unity, it came from one place. And obviously, with us leaving that cradle, our motherland, regardless of whatever race you are, we all came from one place. Names change, story gets altered. And then on top of that, when you even look at the whole situation regarding the Little Mermaid, it's really it's not even about a literal like mermaid. It's about the author being in love with a guy. So
original story,
what
yeah.
are you what
Exactly.
what are you defending? Because I guarantee you, the same people that are so upset about Halle Bailey's casting, oh my God, a Black Mermaid, are probably against homosexuality. Well, that story that you love so much essentially comes from the lifestyle that you probably hate. So,
but people don't take the time to research, of course. We don't take the time to actually study, and because even when people think about the concept of mermaids, it's like, wow, you're a mermaid, so you put on a tail and you swim and stuff. It's like, whoa, don't insult me. It's so much more than that. It's so much more. The connection is so real. Like when you were saying how we get drawn, we are drawn to the water to the point where sometimes it's scary. It's like, I have been scared so many times because I would go swimming in a pool, even just a pool, and I can't come up for air because I don't want to. I don't want to. And then I'm like, oh my God, did I almost just kill myself? Like, relax. Like, you can come up and go back in the water and it's okay. And I have to teach myself to take it easy and, like, relax. The water will always be there for you to love, but you have to get out and then you can get in. Like, take your time. Because a lot of us do have this connection with the water that we don't even understand. And we don't know why we're so drawn to it, but we're like, I need to get to the beach. And so, and especially when it comes to mermaiding, when you leave the water and you haven't been in the water for such a long time, or, for me, if I haven't gone to the beach in a week, I'm like, my scales are drying. I'm melting. I can't. It's like you start to crave it and you need it. Like, you need to get in the water.
That's why I can't do New York City. Because it's literally only hot here for maybe 3 or 4 months out of the year.
That's why I'm still in Miami.
I can't do it. And even when I do want to go to the beach, Like last year, for example, because back in 2018, I went through something crazy, crazy traumatic. Like it was bad. And as I've been on this road of self-love and healing and all that jazz, one of the things that was instilled in me by a good friend of mine who essentially acts as a spiritual guide, so to speak, you know, she basically instilled in me to ride the train 2 hours all the way out to Coney Island. Okay, I live in Bed-Stuy, which is a good 2 hour ride from Coney Island, and I literally did that every day last year during the pandemic just to get to the water. Not only because I wanted to be in the water, but just because there's so much chaos. There's so much conflicting energies of good and bad and negative and positive that I literally felt so rejuvenated after cleansing myself in Coney Islands of all places, salt water, you know.
It's so healing. The
It
water is
is.
so
It
healing.
is. It is. It is. It is. And I would stay out there literally until the moon came up.
Yeah. I've had days where I would leave from work in my school uniform because I work at a preschool. So I would leave from work and just end up at the beach. And I'm like, I literally went the wrong way. This is not my house. And I'm like, actually, it is my home. Like, I do live here. I love this place. And I would just be there. And I'm like, you know what? I'm at the beach. So let me take off my clothes. I'm getting
There
in,
we
you know?
go. That's it. That's it. That's all.
Maui. Oh yes, let's hear from Maui.
Yes, I haven't heard from you in a while. So tell me
No,
about
because I'm
Bahari.
sitting here like, oh, I'm just feeling all the things, listen all this because I can relate so much to all of it. There's, I don't know, it's crazy hearing this explanation because I'm like, wow, that like Naja said, I was like, that kind of explains some things. Like, okay, that makes sense why, I've always just been drawn to the water no matter what. And there's a reason why I will probably never leave the West Coast. I live in I don't like cold.
Maui.
I don't like the cold. So even I go to New York because of my job with theater that I have to be in New York sometimes and times out of the year. But even so, I travel around the country for work when I'm working on a show, not mermaid related. And the first thing I do when I'm in town is I just go for a drive. And I don't know how, I don't look it up, I don't know anything, but I always find myself at water. Always. It's just like I'm pulled to it, whether it's a creek, whether it's a lake, whether it's a river. Like if I'm in the middle country, middle states, sorry, that aren't by the beach, I've always just been pulled. And my friends are always like, how'd you find this? Or the people I meet working on shows that are also there from out of town, they're like, how'd you find this? I was like, I don't know. I cannot tell you. I just knew this is where I need to be. And so on my days off, that's where I find myself. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go up to the creek. Y'all want to come or wherever? But I've never understood how I was drawn to that because I have to be by the water. So that's why I don't think I could ever park and live not near the coast. Though I get my kick, like I said, from smaller bodies of water or fresh water, it has to be salt water for me that I just am in tune. Even with my daily life here, because I'm very fortunate that most of the studios, because I teach dance 7 days a week, but most of the studios that I teach at are not far from the beaches. And I even would go from one to the other. And though it's maybe faster to go like this, I take the coastal route because I have the time to do it, especially now. And it's just, my sanity has gotten so much better, even just being able to see and smell the air around the ocean on a regular basis. It's something that it does for you mentally, which I don't know how to explain, which you all know what I'm talking about.
We get it. We get it. We get it.
But it's like, see, I'm even I don't even know how to say it, but y'all know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful thing. And so here, like I said, hearing all of you guys talk about this, I'm like, wow, okay. Wow, I never looked at it or understood it that way, but it's so mind blowing.
Yeah, we get it. I think the number 2 thing that's important is, I'm just jumping in here. I'm sorry, Shay, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, say the number 2 thing, and then I'm gonna start hitting some specific questions.
There you go. So remember that I said that you can be a Yemaya priestess and not be able to ever go back in the water.
Right.
Okay? That means if they are initiated to that energy and they may not be able to go to water and they can have the discipline, we can have the discipline, meaning not to take you away from the water ever. This is not what I'm saying, but be discipline yourselves to be able to like have other outlets. Like for instance, you have Yemaya energy every day, every single person here.
Mhm.
We take a shower, right? I mean, maybe the frequency of how you shower is different. I shower like at least once a day. The summer in New York heat, you gotta shower twice a day.
Yeah.
You gotta definitely wash your ass. Like
When they get hot, they get hot. But we only got it for 2 months.
I'm in the Bronx right now. And for the past 18 months, this is my location. In the shower, that's my Yemaya moment. That's my moment to envision her and envision her washing over me and cleansing, and it's going down the drain, and the drain is making its way over wherever. If I put salt water in my water in the bathtub,
yes.
where I go, I'm in Yemaya. You do not have to live by the water. Now I'm saying I'm desperate to, well, maybe not desperate, but I'm definitely ready to go back to California. But I've been here 18 months. And the way God and the ancestors have it set up, they're like, you need to work on stuff here with your family.
Mhm.
So, I had to like go to IKEA and put this. I have to do things in place of that until I can get back. Meaning, don't sacrifice something in your life that needs to happen, because the water will be there, like you said, for you when you're ready for your next move. She never left you. You full of water every day. Your body's 70%. What's the percentage? Water, right?
Yeah, it's about 70.
70% water. So I'm just saying, if there's something you need to take care of, you can pray with her, talk to her, him, they, the Orisha, because really they're beyond gender, right? And so when we talk to Orisha, we can find a way to still connect with her, even if I'm sad, because she understands this is what I need to do until I can be near her more. And I refuse to take that 2.5-hour ride to Coney Island, brother. I'm like,
listen, I know it. Coming from the Bronx, listen. But you know what? No, I'm gonna tell you. There's a mermaid who lives in Harlem, the Harlem Mermaid.
okay,
She Cookie. There you go. And when she does it. She does it when the weather's right. She is like the main force here in New York City that holds meetups at Coney Island faithfully every weekend in the summer.
I'm on
every weekend.
Hook up with y'all. Y'all could be my little mermaids in NYC. We could do a whole little video clip series.
Come on. Come on, please.
All right, Kevin, tell us about your is it Transhumans project? Tell me what you got going on. Yeah.
Okay. Well, basically, Transhumans is essentially a story that you get when you combine the Vampire Diaries with Empire and have a ethnic cast thrown into the mix. Okay, so basically, the story takes place in modern times. Essentially, it incorporates the Orisha and mixes them in with supernatural beings trying to live in modern day as normal people, basically. And it started off as Atlantis, but over the years, as I became more educated in just different stories surrounding the Orisha, and just increasing my knowledge and just the supernatural gambit, werewolves, vampires, witches, what have you, it became its own thing. So essentially, what happens is we travel backwards to the beginning of time, right? Before there was a concept of time, and there was only one continent, okay? And inside that one continent, the Garden of Eden is, inside of the motherland. And around this time, okay, humans existed as well as supernatural beings. And the Orisha, who essentially were originally humans, but they transitioned into saints, basically. It was their job to oversee balance in between humans and the supernatural. However, humans could not learn magic, nor could they practice magic, okay? Because if they did, essentially it would cause an imbalance of power, and they could essentially threaten the balance that the Orisha maintain between said supernatural and humans, right? So naturally something happens where humans start learning magic, and essentially you have the first witches. Those witches essentially create werewolves to protect them from everything else, right? So the pantheon of Orisha sends the goddess of death, Oya, to eliminate the witches. And while she's gone, and she's doing her thing, killing the witches, whatever, she ends up finding out because Anansi ends up dropping the bomb on her that her husband, Shango, is having an affair with a mermaid. Okay? So Oya, she's already on 10. Shoots back over. She starts eliminating the mermaids. Now, mermaids are basically they're supernatural, but they're in their own separate set of being, to where they're protected and they operate under a different set of laws. So essentially what Yemaya ends up having to step in to protect the mermaids. And as a result, she ends up using all of her magic to disperse the mermaids forward in time. Okay? So as a result of that, she uses up all of her magic and essentially fades away. And as a result, those mermaids lose the ability to return back to the sea. Okay? And then, so Oya punishes Shango and curses him. And essentially he becomes the first vampire, basically. And he is cursed to walk the earth drinking the blood of humans. Okay? And that's also the humans' punishment for them learning magic. So she's just punishing everybody, right? So then you fast forward to modern day, right? Yemaya's magic ends up manifesting itself slowly over time in modern day in the form of a merman. So basically, as he's adjusting and trying to navigate through modern day 2021, 2022, what have you, he's coming into contact with all these, he essentially becomes a beacon that all these different sects of people, from Shango, who essentially now is basically envision P. Diddy. He's like running a record label, whatever, but that's like a front for him to basically move money, acquire power, to get the resources that he needs to get revenge on Oya. Essentially, that's his goal, right? So he wants the magic that this merman has, because essentially Yemaya is the goddess of the sea, which also represents creation as well. So he wants that power also, right? And then you have a group of mermaids, the descendants of the mermaids that were landlocked, who they're almost like a cult, basically. They know that they have to essentially sacrifice the merman in order for Yemaya to fully manifest in the physical world, so that way they can return to the sea. And in the midst of that, there's this whole love triangle situation between him, a werewolf, and a vampire. It's nuts. It's nuts.
So
It's nuts. It's nuts. It's nuts.
is it like a TV series? Is it going to be like one movie?
It's 100% gonna be more like a Netflix series. The
Okay.
first season has 8 episodes, and I want to say that I'm done writing it, but I'm constantly getting new ideas. So every single time I stop, I just keep going. You know me, Natasha. So the overall story for season 1 is done. And I have all my episodes up to episode 7, and I'm actually on episode 8. And I pretty much know how season 2 is going to play out. Like, it's going to be almost like a war between going into what you said in regards to Olokun living in the deep, because like with season 2, there's actually a scene that I want to recreate, and I'm going to have the budget to do it. Watch me. Where there's like a flashback to a ship that is transporting slaves, and Olokun actually destroys it, takes the slaves, and they, become mer people under him. And so in season 2, you actually, it's those mermaids basically are at war with the mermaids that are trying to return to the sea, because they feel like the mermaids that were essentially living on land have been tainted. So essentially, you have a war between the sex, the sex SECT, of the mer people. Well, for the sake of the story, I essentially divided Yemaya and Olokun into 2 parts. Basically, like you said, she represents the surface, he represents the deep. But every season it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and I actually plan it to be maybe about 4 or 5 seasons. So it's gonna be dope.
That sounds super exciting.
It sounds
How do
like
people follow it? How do we?
Well, right now it's just on Instagram. And all I do is I post, just little nods here and there. Nothing too crazy or anything like that. Like I said at the start of this conversation, I have a couple things that I'm, stuck handling in New York City. And then once that wraps up and I transition over to the West Coast, I definitely intend on hiring a production company to get the ball rolling as far as that's concerned. So for right now, like I said, I do have an Instagram for it. I have a little YouTube channel, but nothing too serious. I mean, well, it's serious, but you get what I mean.
Okay. What is the Instagram? Say it. I'm typing it in the comments.
Oh, okay. Well, no problem. It's at transhumans. But what I did was I switched the A's to look like V's, so that way they look like fangs.
Right. You gotta spell it out.
It's no problem. It's at TRVNS HUMVNZ. And basically how I came up with the name is because of the fact that transhumanism is an actual science, to where basically it's the idea of humanity evolving with the aid of science. So the concept of transhumans comes from the idea of these people who are these supernatural beings and these gods walking amongst men. Basically, they're as the story progresses, essentially they're transcending their humanity and basically trying to figure out a balance, as you put it. So essentially, that's what the story is.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Melanee, you've got a big convention coming up. Tell us about it and why
So
you're
excited for that.
You guys, this is my baby. This convention is my baby. And it means so much because I originally started Afro Mermaid so that we can be represented. Every time I see like a Black mermaid being represented. I feel like it's not being represented properly. It's a Black mermaid with straight hair, and it's like we don't really look like that unless we get a relaxer. Like, look at this. Like, I can't run my fingers through this, and I need a mermaid that looks like me, you know.
Yeah.
So I purposely made this event. I knew there had never been an event in Miami, or else I would have already gone to it. So I took it upon myself, and I made it my mission to host an event in Miami, and it's Black owned. I intentionally made it on Juneteenth just to celebrate us a little bit more. I decided to cap our capacity at 100 people just because COVID times. I didn't want there to be the typical convention style where there's like 200 plus people. So I'm trying to keep it safe, but I'm also trying to represent us and celebrate us after such a hard, long 2020. We deserve this. I'm actually trying to incorporate a sacred water ceremony on the Sunday. So it's going to be a 3-day event. The Friday, we will be doing a meet and greet where we'll all kind of dress in our best like mermaid club attire and like be like, okay, I see what your show, bro. You're going to be there tomorrow. Okay, you know, and get to know everybody like that. Then on Saturday, the actual day of the event, we'll be having a breakfast together. I'm gonna give out raffles so we can do like games and prizes. There's gonna be a mermaid meditation. There will be photographers. There's gonna be a DJ, and we're gonna have 2 workshops: a swimming workshop for realism, and as well as a posing workshop for all body types. You know, like show the curves and hide all the things that we always try to hide. And then I'm actually trying my best to get a fire permit so that we could do a bonfire on the beach at the night, like to end the night and dance under the moon. I believe the full moon will be on the 23rd. So the moon will be growing and getting stronger around that time. So I just want to take the time to like dance with all my fellow mermaids and like have a good time and really bond and build a connection. Most conventions I feel like are very fun to go to, and you do meet a lot of people, but I feel like this is going to be a lot more intimate. It's going to be a lot more spiritual. We're going to be crying together, dancing together, loving on each other, like really getting to know each other. Instead of being like, hey girl, yeah, I'm gonna follow you on Instagram. Yeah, you too. See you next year for the convention. Like, I'm gonna be calling you guys out here. I'm gonna be we're not just Instagram friends, we're family now. So when I start aggravating you, I don't care if I'm bothering you or not. You're my brother, you're my sister, like I'm gonna be hitting you up, I just want us to be able to, because the mermaid community, especially the Black mermaid community, is very small. And we're everywhere. We're literally everywhere. And it's like there's a mermaid over here, a mermaid over here, a mermaid over here. How do we get everyone together so that we can all connect? And I can be like, hey, I'm in Georgia. Where are my Georgia mermaids at? Hey, I'm in New York. What's up, guys? Like, hey, I'm here. Let's all like. So I purposely I wanted to create this summit so that we could all, and everyone, it's not just for Black people, I did it for us, but it's for everyone. Everyone is welcome. I want to see everybody out there so we can all build connections and build bonds and really show up and show out that there is Black mermaids out there. Yes, we have afros. Yes, we can swim. Yes, we can get our hair wet. My hair looks great when it's wet, guys. It's beautiful. My curls are popping. So yes, I'm so excited for this. I'm so excited. And then to finish off the event on Sunday, we're going to do a beach cleanup because it's important. It's important. And if we are really mermaids and if we really do care about the ocean, how we care about the ocean, we should be doing beach cleanups on a regular basis. So I'm kind of trying to like force it on people that bought their ticket. Like, you're going to come to this beach cleanup. We're going to clean the ocean today, So we'll have a beach cleanup. And then after the beach cleanup, we'll have a sacred water ceremony where I'm encouraging everyone to wear all white or with hints of blue. And then after that, we'll have a beach party, and then it'll end around 3:00. So we'll finish the day off at the beach. It'll be a complete beach day on Sunday where we can all just get together and say our final see you laters, not goodbyes. And yeah, I'm really excited. I'm so excited for this event. Like, I'm not even really anticipating on making that much of a profit from it because I'm just pouring everything into it. I'm like, we're going to do this. I just want to see everybody come together and have a good time.
That's real. And if people want to buy tickets or whatever, they go to afromermaid.co. Is that correct?
Yes. So you'll go to afromermaid.co/convention, and it'll take you right to where you need to go to RSVP for the event.
Dope. Maui, you have like a twin brother named Bahari. Can you tell us about him?
I do. And a lot of people get confused at the whole thing about Bahari. So basically, I I wanted to take some time to educate, you know, not just the mermaid community, but everyone about all the different types of things and cultures we have in the African American community. And being that, some of us celebrate Kwanzaa and some of us don't, it's not a general thing that everyone celebrates. But I wanted to share my experiences with Kwanzaa, and how it was spiritual for myself, with everyone. And in doing that, I also wanted to shy away from Maui for a moment to do that because, I wanted to pick something that was more personal. I mean, Maui's personal to me in one way, which is why that's my main persona. But I chose to go with Bahari because it's also a Swahili name for ocean, which, it goes one and the same for all of us. And since a lot of the language used in all the Kwanzaa principles are in Swahili, I wanted to honor that as well. Um, so I created Bahari to also give a different edge because Maui is also known for, hey, how y'all doing? What's up? Hey. But I wanted to be a little bit more serious as well because it was important. And just share with so what I did was I went through each day of Kwanzaa. Because I celebrate Kwanzaa every year for the past 7 years. Um, Personally, it's not something that I did with my family. We did when we were younger, but family life is a whole nother story now. But um, I then said, okay, be cool because I don't think a lot of people know what Kwanzaa even is, especially if they're not Black or African American. They hear about it, but they don't know what the principles are, what we actually are, why we celebrate it, and they forget that, there's a lot that goes into Black culture. And with a lot of what we're here talking about, like, even the transatlantic slave trade and how we lost a lot of traditions
Yeah.
coming over here. Some of them are held on to in different ways, but we lost so much traditions. So I loved that Kwanzaa was created to give us something to have for us. Um, and so I just wanted to share that with everyone. And so I went through each principle, and Bahari ended up sticking with me. And every now and then I contemplate, am I going to transition eventually to being actually Merman Bahari? It's possible. I don't know yet. But right now, I'm /Maui/Bahari, because I
Sorry, my
associate and
phone is about to
identify.
die. I just gotta plug it up.
Oh, you get. Um, but yeah, so that's the main story of how Bahari came to be. But now he's always a part of me and always will be, in addition to what Maui has to offer.
Very cool. Very silly follow-up question. I'm gonna totally put you on the spot. If like one of your merch sisters happened to get knocked up and have a baby boy and named him Bahari, would you be like offended or would it be like, would you be honored? I'm like, that's a really awesome name, but people be real personal about names, like so, like.
You know what? I think I would be honored, and especially when I was trying to decide on a name because I knew I wanted to do this. Um, and it also helped in general because what I wanted to shy away from, because I didn't want people to think that my main thing is that I am a Polynesian merman because of the name Maui. As I've expressed in different other things, my history with the Polynesian culture, it comes from just life experiences. Because I used to work for Air New Zealand, and I was engulfed in the Maori culture for years. That I became an honorary Maori and just it's all the honorary Kiwi and all these things. And so that's also a big part of me as well with where Maui came from to begin with. But I didn't want the confusion of this is he Black? What is because sometimes when we're a little bit more caramel or lighter, we come off sometimes ethnically ambiguous. And I wanted to make sure people understood that I'm a Black person first and foremost. Um, and so that was the really strong point of finding a different name for that. And then when I saw what I heard Bahari, and I was like, that's beautiful. And it means ocean. So no, to answer that question, that was a long-winded way to answer the question. No, I don't think that I would be offended. I think that, yes, let's get more out there.
Okay, cool. It's on my mental baby name list. When you said Isura, I muted you just because when you came out of your headphones, we got a little echo. But like, if you need to say something, just like give me like a wave or whatever. I didn't mute you out of anything other than to kill that echo. Miss Naja, tell me. Oh, haha, I talked to you and then muted you. Okay, what were you saying?
Oh, no. I just had to plug my phone up because it was getting ready to die.
No worries. We want you here. And now I don't hear it. So maybe we're cool. Naja, tell me about, gosh, your majestic journey. Yeah. Including that amazing story you told last night about the fact that you did not learn to swim until after you became a tailmaker.
Yeah, and becoming a tail maker was actually an accident. And like I said, with my workshop constantly getting flooded by Yemoja, I know it was her. I don't think I was supposed to be making tails for, everybody. So, my mother, my grandmother, they used to tell me all the time that they were mermaids. Of course, me, I didn't believe them. I'm like, whatever, whatever. But we lived on the water all my life. Um, my mother died, my grandmother passed away. I kind of went crazy and I wanted to leave the water. I left Virginia and came to Atlanta. And I initially started working for CNN and Turner Broadcasting, which is how I got into film and production. I wanted to get into makeup, FX makeup in particular, and I needed a bigger prosthetic for my portfolio. So I wanted to be different. I thought I was being different. And I remember what my mom and grandmother used to tell me. So to honor them, I said I'm going to make a silicone mermaid tail because nobody's done that before, and I thought I was doing something major. Well, I made this tail. Everyone in the Black community told me I was crazy because most of the people that I was around, they didn't swim. They didn't even go to water or nothing like that. I worked with a lot of models. They didn't want to get their hair wet, and it's just a lot in the Black community. So I put this tail out on Instagram, and the world goes completely nuts, which is why I thought I invented something. But then Blix saw my tail and he made me very aware that this is a thing and that there are so many people around the world, not Black, but that are swimming in silicone mermaid tails. So I was introduced to Mali from there and introduced to a whole mermaid community, which blew my mind. There are so many mermaids around the world. It blew my mind, and I immediately fell in love with this mer world. And we had got our first gig in New York City, and I had to meet Mally. I had to see someone swim in my tail. I'm like, okay, I see that people actually do swim in these. I need to see someone do it. And Mally, she honored me and she swam in two of my tails. And from there it was just, oh my God. I had Playboy models in my tails. I've had celebrities in my tails. Everybody just takes off. There was one Playboy model who took off in Jamaica, just jumped in the ocean in my tail. I freaked because I can't swim. I can't save you if you know. So I decided that I needed to swim. I need to learn how to do this. I need to know what it felt like, and And I was just so eager, but I was afraid at the same time because I don't swim. I don't even put my head underwater at this point. So my daughter, I put her in a tail, and we have a pool at my house, by the way. We've always had a pool. So my daughter, she got in a tail and she swam, and I'm like, let me try. Let me get in. I need to try this. All right. And she stayed there with me and helped me through this.
Oh,
And I didn't go to the deep end. I did not go to the deep end my first time in the tail. I was right there in 3 feet, 4 feet of water where I could stand up. But my daughter, she did help me, calm myself, and she showed me how to hold my breath underwater because, like I said, I did not do that. So um, I went to Mermagic Con after that and met some of the most amazing mermaids from around the world. And they had this diving well that was 17 feet deep on all sides. There was no 3 feet or 4 feet part. There was not even a 5 feet or 6 feet. It's 17 feet, period. So me not knowing how to swim and just learning how to hold my breath underwater was not getting ready to get in those 17 feet of water. Y'all got me messed up. Everybody, so many people loved me, and I didn't have any idea they even knew who I was. I mean, they were swimming from so far to come see me, and they're just like, "Oh my God, Yemaya," because that's my mermaid persona is Yemaya. And it gave me such a boost. I was just like, you know what? Okay, guys, let's do this. I'm going to do this. I got in the water, and when I say I had so many mermaids around me just rooting me on, I swam clear across in 17 feet. I got comfortable, and then I dove my first time, like did dive deep, and it felt amazing. Amazing. From then on, it was over. Now I do it all the time. I go to the deep end. I could jump in the ocean now. I'm good.
And what does Majestic do today?
So we have always been in film and photography. The mermaid tails, when we were making them initially, was not supposed to be something that we sold or anything. It was just to make money so that we could film Atlantis. And like I said, things started going wrong. Like my workshop was getting flooded and everything. So the tails had to stop. We had to refocus on filming and photography. We are currently filming Mermaids in the City, and it's not about mermaids, but are visiting a lot of our mermaids to experience what their lives are like outside of mermaiding. And with Mermaids in the City, what that means is fish out of water. Y'all heard that term before?
Mm-hmm.
A fish out of water? That's what Mermaid in the City is. We are fish out of water. And we are experiencing a whole new city. And we are going to show you that, share with you the West Coast mermaids. I cannot wait. Oh my God, y'all don't even understand how excited I am to meet all these West Coast mermaids. It's been a dream of mine for 6 years, y'all, and I'm finally here. So, Mermaids in the City drops this summer. We've already got 10 episodes. So, yeah, we're going to keep it going. It's going to be on Instagram, on Majestic ENT Instagram. It's going to be an Instagram series. Drops
And that's
every.
at Majestic ENT.
Yep.
Awesome. I have like 3 more questions written down, but I really wanted to give you guys the chance to ask each other questions, like you panelists the chance to ask each other questions. I feel like I'm always on panels and like everybody's always fascinating. And then they like jump to audience questions and I'm like, but I want to know. So, Isura, I will unmute you. Panelists, do any of you have questions for each other?
Well, Afro Mermaid, Melanee is your name?
Yes.
I was trying to order me one of them jackets, but I didn't see them on there. Do you have any in stock yet?
Which we do have the jackets. They are on the website currently, but they're
Okay.
custom orders.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're custom orders. So you would like it usually takes about a month for them to be finished because when you order it, then we make it for you. And you could get whatever color you want for the logo, like whatever color threading combination you want to get, we can do that.
Okay, awesome.
Well, girl, I think that you worked fast because I don't think that was a month. I was surprised mine was here already. I mean, I'm in
No,
love. This
yeah. But when you placed your order, I actually was getting ready to get ready to do another jacket order. So you ended up like you like literally made it right in time, and you were like one of the only people that I was able to make it as fast as I did.
okay. 'Cause I was like, dang, and I was here. Hey, I love it. So in love. It's
But
so
yeah, I do.
comfortable. So,
I try. I know I love these jackets. They're so nice. But I do try my best to get them as in and out as fast as possible, you know?
Okay.
Especially as a new company, you know, I feel like it's very important to try to make sure that your shipping is as fast as possible because then it's like, oh, here go these black companies again shipping. You know, they criticize black companies so much. So I'm like, let me make sure I'm on point. Let me make sure I have this. Like, so yeah.
Society of Mermaids definitely has its struggles, and I've just gotten very proficient in the I am so sorry, I have dropped the ball just a little bit. We're going to take care of you, da 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 type message.
Yeah, people are
And
hard.
honestly, my personal experience sometimes, like, I mean, obviously you want like a seamless interaction, but also like companies, like I kind of coach myself, like you really get the opportunity to like leave a positive impression on somebody when something goes wrong with how you handle it. Like nobody
Yes.
really thinks about like something that goes perfectly, which is like great. That's like a dope thing is like there's no problem. But if something goes wrong and you handle it with grace, like that kind of like really cements you in someone's mind.
Exactly.
So if the jackets will be available at the convention.
No, they won't. Only because they are custom orders. So I won't be able to, like, you know, I don't know what colors you guys want or, you know. Now, if you make an order and you want to receive it at the summit, then we could do that. But I won't be able to have it for you at the summit already because I don't know what threading color you want, you know, like it's a whole process.
And I don't. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say most of the line will be there. I will be having a vending table for Afro Mermaid, but like the personalized items, the customizable items won't be there.
What are the jackets about? I missed that.
Oh, okay. So let me model for you. So this is my I call it the sea satin varsity jacket. So it has my logo on it, Afro Mermaid.
Nice.
And then in the back.
Oh, love it. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You might have a new
Yeah, and there's a few different colors. So whatever your Mersona color is, I try to be able to. You could get it black. There's a black jacket. There is gold. There's silver, royal blue, light blue, and pink. And there's also a red. And then the threading color, you can choose whatever colors you want for the threading.
Nice. Yeah.
Support Black business, y'all.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Yemaya ain't gonna let me get a no other color though. I like pink. It's like if you don't get a mermaid, you better get a blue one. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to make a statement. It really wasn't so much of a question, because something that Merman Maui actually, like, it stuck with me. And in regards to the duality between the Polynesian persona and then the more Afrocentric, um, and this is something that I'm gonna actually, that's a topic that I'm gonna address in the class that I'm gonna be doing at MerMagicCon in May. And the thing about it is, in 2021, 2020, 2022, what have you, we as people of color have evolved so much. Essentially we're a melting pot, you know, and basically I want to um, trigger something in people to where they do their own investigation to help make their persona more authentic to them, because you have a lot of people of color, and I'm not necessarily saying Black people, Asian people, Spanish people, who, like, when they're, you know, sitting down in their house and they're trying to figure out, okay, well, I'm going to be a mermaid, I'm going to be a mermaid, what's my name going to be, and then they tap into something Greek, for example, you know, and I don't necessarily say that it might not fit, but if there's a way that, if you just, you do a little bit more research and become, more comfortable, for example, I'll bring the camera lens back on myself. Obviously, I'm a young African American man of African descent, just by looking at me. However, my mother's side is Native American, Meherrin Indian, which is a sub-tribe of the Iroquois based in Ahoskie, North Carolina. That's where my mother's side is from. And then I even did something to where I traced my last name, which is Dozier, however you want to say it. I traced it all the way back to Bavaria, which was a part of the Roman Empire. So it's like you can just just research, and when coming up with your persona, it doesn't necessarily have to be so left or so right, because you're made up of so many different parts that just makes you beautiful, and I feel like because obviously people are mermaids for different reasons. People do it professionally, people are hobbyists. I'm not a professional mermaid, nor do I aspire to be. That's just not the lane that I'm in. However, I am an exaggerated enthusiast to the point where, like I said in the beginning of this conversation, if I could live my life in that lane, that is what it is, and that's just what it's going to be. And everything that I'm trying to do is leading me down that road. But at the same time, finding that perfect balance between, okay, well, what is it that makes me me? Yes, I through whatever research I've done, I'm comfortable enough to use, Yemaya's name, even though that's not even a name that you should just be speaking so frivolously, But at the same time, if I'm of African descent, does that mean that I just call her Mami Wata, or do I call her Yemoja? You get what I'm saying? But like it has been established that there's wiggle room in terms of ideals and gender norms and deeps and surface, peaks, valleys, what have you. I hope that with this class that I'm going to be putting together, I hope that it will help people to just find some sort of semblance, and not only who they are as people, but who they are as mer people as well, and able to bring that persona to their full fruition, So even if you never know, Maui, you might somewhere down the line, there might actually be some Polynesian DNA in you. So
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing wrong with you tapping into that, you know. I just hope that you're able to bring it all together, you know, to where, you know, even Bahari can smile, you know, and not necessarily have to be isolated to just the more serious side, because at the end of the day, this boy was down to love, period, point blank. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
that's all I wanted to say.
Awesome. Any other panelists have questions for other panelists? No. All right.
I don't have a question, but I vote for the Bahari, I think it was.
I love it. Yeah, absolutely.
I
Yeah.
vote for that, but naming is such a personal thing.
Mm-hmm.
I know for me, like on Instagram, I was spiritual wellness warrior, and then I changed to the sunny side because I wanted to show my softer side because I am a warrior, but I want to lead with too much of that energy. And then now I'm like, you know what? I think people think I'm soft, and they spiritual walk is easy, and so I might have to bring back, that and so I guess it depends how you want to be seen as well as what you feel, because
Yeah.
for me, seeing you from the outside, right? I was getting, like, oh, okay, this brother's Afro Hawaiian,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
whatever. And so it depends also, like, how do you want to interact with people, and what you're okay with how they perceive you or not, or if it matters or not, but like naming is such a personal thing, and just take your time with it. At the end of the day, is it's for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But
I
yeah.
feel like it's all about, like, it has to resonate with you. You know, I actually came up with my mermaid name. Actually, I wouldn't even say mermaid name because I don't feel like I'm a mermaid. I feel like I'm a siren. You know, in the real world, I'm very feisty. I'm very, like, I snap back, like I'm very, like, and that's just who I am as a person. I'm very sassy. I'm like, okay, and but with Afro Mermaid, it's taught me to soften up and be like, "Shello there, hey friends," So you'll see different me's depending on my role. If I'm representing Afro Mermaid, I'm gonna be bubbly, I'm gonna be happy, and I'm naturally a very bubbly and happy person, but I'm not gonna be as like as feisty as I usually am because this is a company. Now if you meet Melanee, my mermaid name is Carrie Wata, and that's because I resonate more with Mommy Wata. That is my feisty side, like my colors are like black and gold, and it's very rich and dark and like back to my roots type of thing. And then you see Afro Mermaid, and it's like colors and blue and happiness and bubbles, and it's so different. So I guess it just depends on what resonates with you and how you feel at the end of the day, and just what makes your heart happy.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
No, I
And there's
agree.
still
I agree
discovery.
100%. And
Oh, that's sorry.
I was gonna say I agree 100%. I think there were a lot of, Maui came to me. It is something that I resonate with wholeheartedly and deeply, which is why 3 years ago I originally chose this, and this is what I started to go. And it's now also part of a branding thing, since this is a professional avenue for me, and
Mhm.
it's also the brand that now people know and recognize. And I think when Bahari came into existence, it was again, this didn't start just at the end of last year, but just over time, something else that I was thinking about, just my more roots side of wanting to also transition into bringing that into mermaiding and marmosona, especially with the role we as Black mermaids have in the community. Um,
What about
and
Maui Bahari? Both of them.
very, very,
Mermaid
very possible.
Maui
And so
Bahari.
I'm not saying that, like, I am officially going to rebrand or change anything. I'm not sure yet. I'm definitely, like, more so sticking with Maui right now still. Bahari just came up, but I also use it as an avenue for myself to find my own inner strength that I didn't know that I had, if that makes sense. Because
Right.
just even the power that I felt channeling that different strength, and I made a whole post about this too when I was changing my name back to Maui just at the end of Kwanzaa, because again that was a temporary thing. That, like, I found a new strength in myself that I'm going to continue building on this mermaid journey with. And I'm thanking you all for this ride with me because it's important for me to feel my own strength and power in everything that I do.
Yes.
We are here.
That
We're
is
all
awesome.
here. We're all here. Like, we're all here for you. Yes, like whatever you need, we have your back 100%.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Anytime I like host something, we like go overtime. But I'm gonna ask. I had three final questions. I'm gonna ask two where you get to pick one, and then one everybody has to answer. So of your pick one, either kind of a loose question about how do you feel about mermaiding, the water, and like gender. And so I'm gonna answer this one very briefly and loosely, which is just to say that like I always kind of say in my head like gender is fluid under the sea. That's kind of like the way I think of it. So that's like my quick answer. So like if you want to talk about that, I'd like to hear about that. Or if there's any story or deity that like really resonates with you. So like for me, the Igbo landing story about the group of people in that Gullah Geechee land that elected to walk off of that ship and either drown or transcend rather than be enslaved is a story that's always been very powerful for me and is a story that I want to research more. Like I feel very connected with those people. I believe those people were merfolk and I believe, I don't know. So that's just like one particular story that for me is like really powerful. So I either want to hear about a story or a person that's really powerful for you and or your thoughts on gender and the water. And we'll go clockwise again, starting with Melanee.
Okay, so I would like to answer the question about gender underwater. Um, I feel like that's a big thing for me only because even though my pronoun is she, I feel like there's sometimes I feel so feminine that it comes off as masculinity. You know, like I feel like I'm a strong woman and sometimes I'm very bold, sometimes I'm very assertive, and sometimes I do feel very masculine. But at the same time, I'm still like, hey guys, yes, I'm cute. You know, like it's almost my power to be masculine and bold, especially as a Black woman. So I feel like, yeah, like who cares? It's whatever you feel. At any point in time, I feel like any person, a man can soften up and become more feminine, or he can be bold and like strong. And the same for women. We have that in our bodies to just, it depends. It just depends on how you're feeling at that time. Because, sometimes I feel super girly and I just want to be cute and just like do little bubble kisses and then other times I do feel like that feisty siren that's going to lure you to your death, and I just feel so like masculine and like, so I feel like it just depends on, like, I don't know, as long as you're happy, who cares about what other people think? You be happy and you live your life. Like, who cares what everybody else says? Because at the end of the day, everybody's going to have something to say, whether it's positive or negative, everybody's always going to have something to say. So as long as you're happy.
Maui,
I
Bahari.
actually, I I actually want to answer the same question because as a merman, I get this so much, and I'm sure most mermen can resonate with this as well. Is that they'll go, oh, it's a mermaid. Oh, I'm sorry, merman, mermaid, what do you? And though my pronouns are he, him, in my mersona, I feel like the gender fluidity of it is not as important. So I'm mermaid. I work as a mermaid. Like, it's like I will sometimes use mermaid, merman, but like also just what's more known, I guess, in the mindset, I guess, for the term mermaid of what it actually is. But I don't feel like it's tied personally, because we all have different feelings about this. But I don't feel like it's tied to gender, just like some of the deities we discussed today. Um, I I've always wondered if it was an unpopular opinion or because some people feel strongly about either way. Like, no, I'm not a mermaid, I'm a merman. And that's fine. But just as far as for me, where that comes down to, I don't get offended if someone calls me a mermaid. and I use both terms equally.
That's legit. I know Morgana Alba always talks about how she views like mermaid as like human, like just like as the neutral. It just happens to be a feminine neutral instead of the masculine
Yeah,
Right.
neutral we're used to in English.
Hmm.
And kind of
exactly.
specify within that.
Right.
Oh, I have to unmute you if I want to hear what you think, don't I? Sorry.
You know, I'm special like that. But no, I'm definitely going to answer the first one. There is an androgyny that I find very appealing on behalf of mermaiding. Um, like you said, from my perspective, it's pretty much a blanket uh, term. I mean, again, going back to the situation with the Orisha, um, even when you look at Yemaya, Yemoja, um, there are cases to where Yemaya, and you know how we discussed the Olokun, where basically Yemaya is referred to as Olokun, and that's it. You know, so for me as a mer person, as the man of Mare, you know, I want to basically embody what the sea embodies. You know, the sea to me is beautiful. It is peaceful, but it is also strong, and it can also be wrathful as well. So, you know, one of the first people, the first thing people say when they look at it, go, "Oh my God, you're just so beautiful," blah, 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 blah. And it doesn't offend me at all, because ultimately that's what I feel like, as a mer person, you should feel comfortable in achieving, is a kind of sort of beauty that transcends what his beauty is or her beauty should be. It's ethereal. It's on a different plane, so to speak. you know so that's my thing. And I mean, and technically, you when something is like beautiful, and you apply that heavenly standard to it, gender doesn't matter. And that's what being a mermaid is. When I am wearing my tail and swimming or chilling or whatever, I want to achieve an almost heavenly type beauty, and I don't really care how masculine or feminine that translates. It's gonna look good, and I'm gonna be happy.
Naja.
So I will do the deity because Yemoja is actually a very big part of why I still mermaid. I never called myself Yemaya or anything like that. I literally tried to run away from the persona, like literally tried to run away from it. But everywhere I went, it didn't matter. I didn't even know who Yemaya was, first off. Everywhere I went, even people not knowing that I was mermaiding would call me Yemaya. They're just like, "Oh my goodness, you're Maya. You feel like a Yemaya." And I'm just like, "What is that?" One, I was in New Orleans and a guy told me, he said, "Do you know who you are?" And I'm just like, "What?" You have to look it up. He said, "Look up La Sirene and you're going to find out." I look up the name Yemaya or La Sirene, and Yemaya pops up. And it's in this particular paragraph, it says that she was the first mermaid in existence ever. And from her, humans, everybody was created. That's that's how I was introduced to it. So off the rip, Blix was like, "Oh my God, you're the first Black woman to have going around the world and put people in tails like your mother. And my personality is very motherly. I'm very nurturing. I'm always trying to help. I'm always trying to teach. I'm constantly preaching to these kids. And I draw in children like, and it's so funny because I'm such a nudist. I am a nudist, and I never thought that I never thought that I was kid friendly, but I've always been drawn to children, and children have always been drawn to me. And so many people around me are always pregnant and having babies, and I'm always that mama that's right there. So I've always connected deeply with Yemaya without even knowing I was that deeply connected to Yemaya. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Awesome. And some serious.
He's like, unmute me.
Well, the thing is, there's so much to be said because there's like y'all as Merfolk having like a Yemaya type of like experience, and then there's a distinction between what that is and what Yemaya is in her or her essence, which can be very different than what you think it is or you might be experiencing, because there's different layers and um, there's different layers to the energy, which is very potent. So that means there's a more nuanced conversation that needs to be had. However, for the sake of this panel and those viewing and participating, um, mermaid gender to me doesn't mean anything, because mermaids to me is a Western definition. That don't really have nothing to do with Yemaya and all of this. So to me, that's like, okay, yeah, well, now that we are in a U.S. context, at least right now, I'm in the United States of America. I was actually born on an island, but I'm here, right, since a very young age. And then California here, this is where I have lived, even though I have traveled different places. So in this context, it's like, okay, this is what mermaids are on TV. This is what they show us, white mermaids, right? But so when I think of the word in that context, I think of some little, probably white looking, facing with like long, dark hair usually. That's in some movie or cartoon or animation, but that doesn't necessarily to me equate to Yemaya. That's a very narrow piece of what she is or what she beholds. I hate to break it to you, but Yemaya is not always nurturing. Okay,
I know. I'm not even.
There's loads of Yemaya that carry knives,
Yeah.
machetes,
yep.
where she's a pirate. Like she's a pirate and she's literally you know what a pirate is, right? They're in the water.
That's what my majestic logo is. It's a pirate ship, and I am that. Yes.
Yes. And so I think in terms of that, and when it comes to gender, like if someone is initiated into what their head Orisha is Yemaya, and they say that person is a cisgender male, heterosexual. Doesn't to us that doesn't make a difference. It could have been, the person that got crowned could have been, more outwardly feminine, gay person, or any of the alphabet, right? Any, because it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you sleep with or what expression you are. And so the energy of Yemaya itself doesn't, to me, like it just doesn't compute as when you say mermaid, what do I think about mermaid and gender? Is like, well, I know what they are in the movies, but when it comes to like, since I'm speaking from more of a religious or spiritual perspective, it means nothing because I'm I'm a Obatala child and I have Yemaya. Sometimes people pick up the Yemaya energy. Sometimes they pick up more of a Obatala energy. But the thing is, the road there's different paths of the ocean will tear you down, and the hurricanes come out the ocean, and then you have the tsunamis. That a tsunami is a whole different Yemaya side, right? So you don't want to be pulled out by the undercurrent, but at the same time, it can be like this very still, peaceful. The foam is coming through, So all that to say is, there's there's a lot of different ways in which the energy expresses itself. I think the main thing I can say is balance. We all need balance, no matter our gender expression, um, or positioning. Um, it's it's a matter of balance. We can go too far into feminine, we can go too far into masculine, um, and we can end up getting stuck. So it's about strategy. Like, when can I use my energy, in a way that's beneficial? So right before this, I was having a crisis. Right before this panel, I'll be honest with you, I'm having a crisis. I was in the emotions real deep, far deep, right? Because I had this crisis that was happening all weekend. It kind of came up and it was like, okay, I had to get into my masculine energy. I have to get this shit together, because I told Shay, right, I'm coming, I'm gonna speak and whatever. And I had to like work it out and like learn how to kind of put a pause on that. And then later tonight, or I might be having to talk to my girlfriends or somebody, about this decision that I have to make right by tomorrow. But the thing is, we got in the past, I would not have been able to balance that water energy. It would have taken over me. I would have been completely overwhelmed. I would have been deeply apologetic. And maybe I might have shown up, maybe I might have not. Or and if I show up, maybe my energy had been different. But I had to learn to like balance, and ground myself so I could come back to myself. So I don't know, I think that was a roundabout way, um, of saying that sometimes what we think is feminine is not necessarily what Yemaya is, because Yemaya is beyond gender. This whole gender duality, dichotomy, this construct is all human stuff that we mind fuck ourselves over, each and every day, especially when they constructed the racial, social construct, right? So there's a lot of social construction that does not apply to this right here, right? Because we got the crazy ways and we got the balance of there's a lot happening, and all of it is Yemaya, right? We call it female energy, we call it feminine energy, but all of it is her. Because let me tell you, there's wonderful creatures in the ocean that look kind of scary. They're kind of beautiful but kind of scary, but
Right.
they're all her creations, or Olakun's creations. So I don't know if that helps with the gender thing, but that gender stuff is our human stuff. Is all I can say at the end of the day. It's human stuff, and I'm grateful my journey to have Yemaya, because in my journey I didn't really have what I would say was a very nurturing, for many reasons, like relationship with my mom. It was, there's just challenges. That's all I can say. And so for me, in her expression of that divine mother, mother of all fishes, mother of the earth, I was able to step away from like maybe having suicidal tendencies, right? Or whatever, because I knew her to be the divine mother, the dark mother, the black mother, the originator. And I was able to then use and tap into that energy to help me, lift my spirit, So yeah.
Awesome. So, right Lions. We are 2 hours into a 90-minute conversation. So I just want to ask you all, and this was my last written down question, just how can people watching now or in replay support you? So just kind of a quick wrap up, like, this is what I've got going on. This is the support I need. This is how you can do that. Just like kind of like your like 30-second plug coupled with your like final thought word type thing. And we'll keep going around. So I'll start with Miss Melanee.
Okay, so currently, I mean, I always need help because I'm literally running Afro Mermaid completely by myself. Like, I wish I had a team. It's growing, and I feel like eventually I will need a team. But what I can use, or how you guys can help, is by liking, following, commenting, and reposting. Getting the word out that there is this Afro Mermaid company that is here for all of us to share, whatever. Like, I want to be able to create threads. I want to have a YouTube channel so that we can all share. Like, I don't want this to be just my company. I want it to be everyone's company. So if somebody says, hey, I want you to get matching sets for an outfit for spring or something, then I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to get that for you. I really want this company to be for all of us. So any suggestions, please, like, write me. I do respond to my messages. Like, I'm very on top of everything. Like, do reach out, do share, repost, like, follow, because I'm doing this for us ultimately. That's all.
Thank you. Maui.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the biggest, with the way the world is right now and everything still not up and running, a lot of what we've done has shifted in a lot of avenues as well. And since I'm not able to actually get out in person and be out there and do Maui, at events or anything anymore, what I've mostly focused on with Maui during this pandemic has been just continuing to give people a reason to smile during the struggle. And so I say, if you see my posts, you see my videos, you see me dancing, you see me swimming, whatever it is, and it's made you smile, sure, I'd love for you to like and comment. But if anything more so, share it, because it might make somebody else smile too.
Yes.
Definitely.
Awesome. Isura.
Well, I'm gonna, I guess I would say second, but I'm third. So I would thirdly agree with what my previous two sistren and brethren have acknowledged, is really just liking and just showing support. Again, for me, it's not about any monetary gain that or attention one gets or garners from being a professional mermaid. It's really just about attaining as close of a semblance to, the water as possible, humanly possible. And, so when I, just see little tidbits of information, historically speaking, that, people can take and internalize and figure it out from there, it's nice to know that people are enjoying the dissemination of that information. I mean, I'm gonna keep on doing it regardless, but I'm just saying. So, definitely, just shit. Join me on Instagram. Come to this class that's happening at MerMagicCon, please. And it'll be a fun journey, and as you discover yourselves, it's given me a sense of fulfillment. So
Awesome. Naja, how can we support you?
Right now, I think that just supporting the Majestic page, liking and sharing some of the old content, which is really, really old, and just prepare for the summer. Like Maui had mentioned, everything is still kind of shut down, so we're trying to maneuver around that. And right now, I've been just participating on set here in Los Angeles. I haven't really been doing any of our own things because everything's shut down. So yes, just show some love to Majestic. Wait for the summer. We showing out at AfroCon. So even play and coming through. I cannot wait to show what I'm making. Oh
Yes.
I'm so excited.
That's so wonderful.
Sincerest, how can people support you?
Oh, well, I like to say that I already feel supported because I'll tell you a funny thing. Before I got crowned to Obatala with Yemaya as a supporting divinity, I thought I was gonna be a Yemacha or Oshun. It was always back and forth, and sometimes my Yemaya brothers and sisters they get together with, and we get together the Obatala children. But sometimes I feel really sad
Oh,
that that they have their the little Yemaya club going on, and I'm not. I'm in it, but not technically because it's for the tutelary Arisha, right? And so I'm like, oh man, sometimes I feel sad I wasn't part of the for the Yemaya crew. So I wanted to say thank you for hollering at me and recognizing Yemaya with me because she's very strongly there. It's just again what we need and what we want could be different. And so I needed to be grounded a little bit more because I was too far into the ocean energy. I think I might have went in overboard for real. But
good.
that day, if it didn't hold me back, and so thank you already for supporting me. And Shay met me at I was doing a poetry workshop, so I do write. I'm gonna be writing more and putting myself out there more. And I do energy work. Right now, I'm not doing anything in person like Reiki or chakra healing, but I do readings. I do. One of my decks is the Mermaid card. But I do read. I do readings. Excuse me, I feel like I'm a little. My head wrap is coming out, but I do readings. I do spiritual consultation where I help people like figure out what's in their toolbox and what we can add to their toolbox. And that's usually like a one time, let me help you have an assessment. And so you have the tools moving forward. And then I do spiritual direction, which is like spiritual counseling advising, which is over a series of months. And where I can walk the journey with somebody to help identify maybe where they can grow or what they might need some clarity on. As a Obatala child, I do bring a lot of clarity and groundedness to clients. And so you can find me. I'm sure we were tagged somewhere at the sunny side that on Instagram. But like Maui, I'm going a little bit figuring out my identity here. So I might go back to spiritual wellness warrior and say, who cares if you thought masculinity or femininity meant this thing? I'm gonna just go with the warrior. I don't know. You can find me there, and I'll be posting a link tree soon with lectures. I get invited to talks, and I'll have a schedule up soon as well, so I can have um, an easier place for people to sign up. And that's all thanks to being invited by a lot of some friends. So thank you for inviting me here because that's helped me get motivated, inspired to put myself out there more. And that's thanks to Yemaya because she hooked us up right here.
Yes, you did. Well,
Yes.
thank you for being here. So if someone wanted a reading with you, they can just slide into your DMs.
Slide into my DMs or Instagram. Okay. She found me so fast. I was like, girl, how'd you find me? How did you know? How did you know the TikTok? How did you know? How did you know? It was just like that. She was like, I had a feeling when you mentioned the word mermaid. I was like, I said it so fast. I made a mermaid painting. I'm gonna post my mermaid painting that I did, and I'm gonna tag all of y'all. And lastly, because I'm just gonna take this point of privilege, is if you want to honor a Yemaya, you can. If you're near the ocean, you can bring her flowers. Roses are nice, but they don't. If depending on your pocketbook and your change, you get what you can, right? You can get carnations or whatever, and you can bring her flowers, roses. You can put it in the ocean, and you can molasses. You can take molasses to the ocean and like just let it kind of drip out, and that can be a form of offering. You can give her your heartfelt prayers and thanks. You can give her like silver change. Her number is 7, and you can put it in the water. Now, if you're somewhere and people looking at you strange or you feel a little funny, you can take the flowers or you can take the offering and you can put it like by a trash can, but don't put anything that's not biodegradable, obviously, because we want to protect the ocean, but that is a form of you being able to do that. If you can't do that, you know, you can honor her when you're showering. And like I said earlier, and you can do that in that way. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? You can put up images of the ocean and you can honor her in different ways. But I just wanted to give you some ways in which you want to, if you want to give thanks or gratitude, you can do that. And then be cautious of you have strong feelings around Yemaya. Start to be careful, okay? I don't want nobody to, you know, be, you know, seek out somebody for help if you're getting really, really to that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was like a nice little gem right there at the end. Like, thank you. And then I'm going to echo everybody. Please follow me on all platforms: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Again, this replay will be on YouTube. So if you know anybody you think will benefit from it, send them to youtube.com. Mermaid Chez Monique. Also, please follow the Society of Fat Mermaids. This COVID year has been intense, so that IG has been a little stagnant, but I'm going to be updating it quite a bit over the next month. Society of Fat Mermaids has a podcast we are launching in March. Fat Mermaids Make Waves, so be on the lookout for that. Also, the whole website does need a facelift, but go on there. We are the home of the $15 6XLT, and it is really hard to find anything for 15 bucks anyway. But definitely, you know, as you get up into those higher plus sizes, but we are a size inclusive clothing line. We're also a community, whether you swim in a tail or not, you're welcome. Allies are welcome in our community as well. We've got shirts from a small through a 6XL. We've got leggings from an extra small through a 6XL. So especially as more comes out with Society of Fat Mermaids, please give it some love. Because I haven't been that busy updating right on our homepage. You can get our like Merfolk for Black Lives shirt. And oh, I didn't even realize I was wearing this one. This was like our first shirt that like specifically featured a non-binary mermaid. Which I was really jazzed about. But the yes, now we've got on the social distancing shirt. But we've got all sorts of fun things with just everything features just fun images of fat, curvy, juicy MERS, but in a size inclusive way. So please support that. Oh, and go on my website. I've got a paper doll out. I'm so excited. I'm going to be doing TikToks with my paper doll soon. But it's a whole little mini me and my little backstory. I finally put it in words. Well, this is the very shortest version of it. But I wrote it. So if you want to know more about me, get to see me with no tail, which is rare. And both of these gowns I wore to Mermagicon galas. So every little outfit has a story, and then also like Society of Fat Mermaids clothes.
That is sweet.
So yeah, support that too at mermaidchezmonique.com. Thank you, everybody who's been hanging out with us for the past almost 2.5 hours, both my panelists and our awesome guests. I'm sure some of you have been hopped in and out, and I'm sure there's somebody who's been here from the minute we came live, and there's somebody who hopped in 20 minutes ago. But that's what I love about this era we live in. No mean church ushers holding you at the door. Just come in when you can. See?
Oh my God.
Everybody's had that experience. Thank you all so very much. This has been awesome. It has been a treat to get to know all of you just a little bit more. Thank you. Oh, I'm being all emo. Yeah. So I guess I should say good night, all.
Good night.
Stay in touch, you guys. I never met any of y'all, but stay in touch. I have to get to. I need merchandise. I need to go to the MermaCon. I need to do all kind of stuff.
Awesome. All right. Thank you all. Wonderful audience.
See love.